Test one, two, test. Pineapple. Pineapple. All right, how's it sound?
Perfect.
Perfect pineapple. All right. Ready when you are, sir.
They don't know what the fuck they're doing. Do you understand that?
Dude, we have good news.
What's the good news?
They're not going to sell off the public land.
Oh, wait, did that get taken out again?
Mike Lee took it out again.
When did this happen? Because I've seen Joe Rogan like today posting about it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No, I heard. Yeah, I've seen it on Instagram all day. I think it was
So is that
yesterday they
again?
took it out.
Okay. What's
But
funny is
you saw Joe Rogan posted about it. Let's see.
when I saw
Um,
Joe Rogan posting about it, I was like, oh, then this might actually do something because they'll listen to him. Which
so
is
well,
it's
so
sad to
so
say
there's
that, but
so there's that so like there was that like big bill where it was selling off all these public lands. That one is taken off from what
okay.
I understand. But there's all these other little things that are kind of getting floated around and going through legislation. Like there's one up in Alaska where they're gonna like create roads in like untouched wilderness that for like
To get to at
it's
least to
it's like
drilling
it's
spots.
millions of acres of land and it's
Okay.
untouched. And
Okay.
it's like all this wildlife corridor, all of this huge wildlife corridor, untouched land. Like people go in hiking and snowmobiling, and they do all their recreational stuff. Hunters use it a lot.
It
You can fly a plane in and like get dropped off in the middle of there, but there's no roads. And
that doesn't sound
building roads,
untouched.
what?
I wouldn't say that it's untouched then. It's just there's no roads.
Well, it's not accessible.
Okay. Unaccessible. I'll take that.
Unaccessible to the average human being.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm glad.
So
I'm glad. I don't want to sell any federal lands. I think that's a short-term solution. So yeah, I'm glad they're not doing that.
well,
Hopefully, it
with
stays
this,
that
they're
way.
trying to build roads through it, right?
Okay.
And this, what they're saying is this, I mean, first of all, it lets more human beings in there, which is going to destroy the ecosystem and all that stuff.
But
But also,
this would be a
also,
standalone bill. This is not part of the big beautiful bill. This would be a separate
I think
thing.
it's standalone or it's
Okay.
something that they're already like pushing through. I
Okay.
don't really know a lot about it, but it also, they're saying that this leads to oil like drilling.
Okay.
Like the roads are actually going to be built so that oil companies can get back there.
That's the reason they would build the roads is because they're trying to get to those untapped rare earth minerals or oil or whatever it may be.
Totally.
So okay. Well, did you see that the big beautiful bill is I'm gonna say poised to pass the Senate tomorrow or Tuesday at the latest. It passed a key hurdle on Saturday night. Did you see any of this? I guess it was going on until midnight, but they had a vote. They basically had a vote to take it to the floor for a full vote, and it came down to a 50-50 tie. And I was gonna say Mike Pence, JD Vance had to come down to the Senate at like it was like 11 or midnight and cast the tie-breaking vote, and now it goes to a full House floor vote, I guess.
Mm.
If it gets passed, that's not the end of it. If it gets passed, it has to go back to the House, and then if they don't change a thing, if they just take the Senate bill and pass it, then it goes to Trump. But if they change anything, then it has to go back to the Senate, and so Trump's
What are these motherfuckers doing?
I don't know
This is the thing. Like what's in this bill? The
tax
I'm
cuts,
looking at the bill.
tax cuts.
It gives tax cuts for the rich, right?
That's what's in the bill. That's all they care
So
about.
if you make under $30,000 a year, your taxes are going up.
Yeah. If you're a middle class family, you're going to see anywhere from like a $200 loss to like a $700 increase, depending on different
Yeah.
things, how many
It
kids you
stays the same.
have. So about the
But
same.
if you're low income, your taxes go up.
Yes.
Not only do your taxes go up, you lose health care.
Not for sure, but a good portion of them will, but
14
not,
million
yeah.
people are going to lose health care.
I keep
14,
seeing,
14 million people are going to become uninsured due to this bill.
okay,
That's their estimate, right?
it cuts food assistance.
It cuts food assistance,
Mhm.
which I don't have the numbers, but it's a lot of starving children.
Okay.
A lot of kids are going to starve, right? It's going to shut down rural hospitals, 40% of rural hospitals.
They're trying to work in a deal where they're going to have like a $15 billion slush fund that'll be used basically to save rural hospitals in red states, but not blue states. Like that's kind of how they're working it out. Yeah.
One in four nursing homes are going to be shut down.
Those are the rural nursing homes again, but yeah.
One in four of them.
Yeah.
And then what else? 14 million people become uninsured. 4.5 trillion in new debt.
So, and Rand Paul gave a little speech because it got passed to go to the full floor vote. The Democrats pulled some maneuvers where basically they made it to where they have to read the full text of the bill. So they've been doing that since last night. They might be done now. It was predicted to be 15 to 20 hours worth of reading the full bill, and during that time they could, I guess, or I think after that, then they could debate it. Rand Paul gave a kind of a fiery speech. He's one of two Republicans that voted against it. It was Rand Paul and shockingly Tom Tillis, who's the Republican senator out of North Carolina, and
I called both of them, left messages yesterday.
So he's been given warning signs that he's not on board with the bill, and he finally said he was going to vote against it, or he voted against it. And Trump came out on the attack and said he was going to fund primary challengers. And then Tillis announced today that he's not going to run for re-election. So basically, he's like, I'm going to stand up for what's right here, and then I'm not even going to run. You don't have to primary me. I'm out. But real quick, let's watch Rand Paul here because this is. You have a lot of very true problems with the bill that I know are bothering you. My number one problem with the bill is actually what Rand Paul's number one problem is. So check this out real quick. Here's Rand Paul on the Senate floor.
Which brings us back to maybe we have to judge the effects of the big, not so beautiful bill by looking at what happens to the debt next year. Supporters of the bill admit it adds $270 billion to the debt next year. That's the only thing we know for certain. We don't know what happens in year 3, 4, 7, 8, 9, 10, but we know next year this bill will grow the deficit by $270 billion. In addition, the bill increases the debt ceiling by $5 trillion. What does that mean? That is an admission that they know they aren't controlling the deficit. They know that the ensuing years will add trillions more. So we're adding $2 trillion this year, but they're anticipating, the authors of the bill anticipating adding more than $2 trillion next year. That doesn't sound at all conservative to me, and that's why I'm a no.
This is insane.
Yeah.
This is insane that they're doing this.
They keep trying to say that it's not going to add to the deficit, yet at the same time in this bill is a increase in the debt limit by $5 trillion. The reason they did $5 trillion is because they don't want to have to increase it again before the midterms, and they are thinking that they could add up to $5 trillion just this year and next year. So it would be political suicide if they went back and tried to raise it again before the midterms. That right there. Not only are we doing all this stuff to save money, but because of the tax cuts, we're making it to where no matter what, we're still adding. It looks like about $2 trillion this year and 2.1, 2.2 next year. Like, it's ridiculous. This is the fact that there were 50 or 51 Republicans, or I guess 50 Republicans that voted for this is astonishing to me. But then
they're fucking over the American citizens.
Yeah. You want to know who the biggest? You want to know
what? What do we get out of this? What else do we get? We're getting the rich gets tax cuts, right?
The rich get tax cuts, and the corporations get tax cuts.
Rich get tax cuts, corporations get tax. Oh, and we're adding $150 billion to our national security.
Yeah, to the Pentagon budget.
Okay, what else?
That's it. That's the. Yeah.
So over the next 5 years, the rich are going to get another $5 trillion in tax cuts.
The three things you just said, and tax cuts, we're going to call tax cuts a spending increase because it's money not coming in. Either way, it's money going the wrong way. So let's just say that. But to pay for the tax cuts for the billionaires, tax cut for the corporation, and the Pentagon increase, all the things that you mentioned before, all the people losing their health care, food assistance, all that is to try to offset those first three things we talked about. And they're not even really they're not offsetting it at all. Like they're making
not
a dent
offsetting
in
it by $5 trillion.
You want to know who you'll be most upset about in this whole deal is there's a senator from Alaska named Lisa Murkowski. Are you familiar with her?
Oh yeah, I called her office too the other day.
So her and Susan Collins bother me because every time Trump does something they don't like, they kind of give this like, I'm very concerned and I think Trump learned his lesson and he's not going to do it again. But they never really do anything. They just whine. They don't do anything about it. Lisa Murkowski was set up to be a no vote on this, and they ended up trying to put in some language to basically exempt her state, and because she's Alaska. So the language said that basically none of these Medicaid and food assistance cuts apply to the non-contiguous states or whatever, basically not the continental.
Alaska and Hawaii.
Yeah. So basically, hey, if you vote for this, we'll make it to where this doesn't apply to Alaska. So she sold out the other 48 states for a deal for Alaska and then voted yes. And then after that, that happened last night. Then this morning, Sunday morning, the Senate parliamentarian came through and said, "Hey, you can't do that in this bill." So anyhow, so
Well,
she
they're
has
talking about who is the parliamentarian?
it's a I can't remember her name. I've seen her picture recently.
But so there's talking about just like ignoring her and just doing whatever they
Yeah.
want without her,
Yeah.
which is
They
weird.
they won't just ignore it. They'll just pass a rule to override her. But anyhow, so Lisa Murkowski, this has got to go. They all have to vote again on it tomorrow or Tuesday, they're saying. And now that she doesn't get that special deal for Alaska. So is she a yes or is she a no? I think it's still going to pass the Senate. I think this overall, this is going to get passed. It's just a matter of how long it draws out before it gets passed. It could
They're
get passed
also
quick.
going to cut. They're also going to cut wildland fire initiatives as well.
Well, yeah, and
And
they would say that they're giving that responsibility back to the states. The states ought to be paying for that. The federal government shouldn't be. That's what they say.
so there was one guy I saw. He was I guess he's some young reporter, probably Instagram or YouTube reporter, but he was following Mitch McConnell around, and he kept asking him. And Mitch McConnell, in his he, I mean, I think that guy's they're like puppeting him around or something.
He's kind of where
He's like
Biden
Weekend
was.
at Bernie's, but he did not even acknowledge that guy. And the guy was just like, "Will you not look me in the eyes? Will you not look me in the eyes? Like you're gonna cut.
Yeah.
This is gonna kill people. Like people are going to die." And Mitch McConnell's just walking through the hall like this,
Well,
not even.
did you see what happened? It was late last week, but Mitch McConnell apparently in one of the closed door meetings said he basically told the whole conference, "I know we're all getting a lot of calls from back home with people being upset about losing their health care, but they'll get over it. We need to pass it. We don't have any alternative," is what he said. And first of all, yeah, no, you have an alternative, but also like they'll get over it. Like that got leaked, and I'm sure Mitch McConnell was pissed that got leaked, but they'll get over it.
Who who are these people?
They're
What do they
Republican
what do
senators.
they think is gonna are they just I mean, are they just this corrupt? Is that what's going on?
So the thing that you have to remember here, though, is that like there is another portion of society that is like, yes, pass this bill and cheerleading them on. I'm just telling you. I spent all weekend with these people. I spent
Right.
all weekend
Yeah,
in
how was your
MAGA hell.
lobster?
The lobster was all right. The steak was not. Never let a woman from Ohio tell you she cooks a mean filet mignon because it's a lie.
Anybody from
Uh,
Ohio.
the steak was good. Not it wasn't my favorite. The lobster and the shrimp were great. But I will say real quick, spent all weekend in Branson, Missouri. The Trump energy is strong over there. There was a Trump depot that I went into. I sent you a video,
You
and then
did.
there was a Trump. What was it called? A Trump outlet center, and they had everything. Did you notice my new decoration?
Oh, I see it.
I got Trump back there with me.
That's so
Um,
goofy.
yeah,
So goofy.
the guy at the Trump Depot with everybody that checked out, he said, "God bless, praise Trump." That was like his thing on your way out the door. God bless, praise Trump. It was really weird. There was also a couple of Jesus stores, and I know there's a bet.
Praise Trump.
Yeah, dude, one of the stores was called Everything Jesus was one of the stores, and I can't remember the other one. Anyhow, interesting area. But I'll tell you right now, they were
What
all.
did you say when he said God bless praise Trump?
I didn't say anything. I bought my Trump cutout and I left.
Why did you support that business?
You know, my wife was upset with me. My wife, we all went in as a family, and
I'm upset.
my wife got like physically sick being in there and was like, "I have to get out of here right now," and like had to leave the
Yeah.
store. Yeah, it was pretty crazy.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
and you supported that business.
I've told you for a while I want a Trump cutout, and I got one now.
When he said praise God or
God bless, praise Trump.
your answer should have been fuck you.
Nah, I'm not gonna get a fight with somebody.
Yeah, that's
Plus,
your answer. That's
this
the
was
only answer.
this was a small building and it was packed, and I was outnumbered like 100 to 1. I'm not
It's
getting a
fine.
fight in there. Yeah, so
Yeah.
I'm just telling you there are people that are cheering this on. I spent all weekend with a family member who's a Trump voter, and dude, real quick. We talked politics the whole weekend, and every time I would tell her something that kind of killed her point, she would go, "Where are you getting this information?" And then we'd Google it together. I'd be like, "Here, like, look, this is where I'm getting it." And then she'd go, "Well, I haven't seen that. I'm not gonna say I believe that because I haven't seen that." And it's like, that's the problem is you're getting your information from one place and they're not showing you anyhow. It's frustrating, but so
What
anyhow,
does she watch?
so she only watches a couple shows on Fox. She doesn't like Fox anymore. But she
Oh,
didn't say this, but
oh,
I think it's because Fox is too liberal for her and that she's moved
uh-huh,
further right. I think.
uh-huh.
Didn't say that, but that's the vibe I got.
Yeah.
She did tell me how
Because
great.
Jessica Carlisle is
So
speaking the truth.
she actually said she likes Jessica, but I think she was just saying
Oh,
that. I think she was just saying that to try to show me that, like, no, I see both sides.
do you listen to Jessica?
She loves Greg Guffield. She watches his show, his like late night show, and thinks he's hysterical. She also thinks that Jesse Waters is great, and that's when I was like, I can't.
Oh no,
Yeah,
Jesse Waters,
yeah.
the
Anyhow,
country bull turd.
but
I'm
I
glad Fox is getting sued.
who is? Fox by
Fox.
Gavin Newsom, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's
I mean, it opens up a
it's stupid.
can of
Yeah,
fucking worms, but
it's dumb.
yeah,
So
it's
anyhow,
whatever.
back to the big beautiful bill. So here's the path this is going to go this week. First of all, got to pass the Senate for real. Probably going to happen. There's about a 10% chance it doesn't. 90% chance it does. Once it gets passed, Mike Johnson has told the House Republicans to be back Tuesday because Tuesday is the earliest they anticipate this coming back to them. Now, at this
Okay.
point, things have been changed. Okay. So there theoretically should be some House members that are like, hey, no, I liked the thing they took out, or hey, I don't like this thing they added. But Trump's going to give a full court press to just pass it, pass whatever they did, pass whatever the Senate did, and get it to my desk. So, will there be any holdouts in the House? There will be Thomas Massey and Chip Roy. That's not enough. There needs to be one or two more, and I don't know who those other ones are. So this could
How
be.
many more? Does it need one or two more?
I think they can lose three, but not four. I think that's what the numbers are.
So it needs two more.
Yeah, I
So
don't
they
know.
need four total.
Yeah, I don't know.
So
I don't know who it's going to
okay.
be.
Well, so I look on Saturday, I looked up who in the Senate is on the fence about the big beautiful bill. And I've got
Ron.
a
So
list of like six or seven of them, and I called all of them and I left
okay.
them all a message on Saturday.
You know what's irritating is there's ones like Ron Johnson and Senator Hawley from Missouri that have been saying all along, like, I'm not going to vote for this
Mhm.
because it's a bad bill. And then when it came down to it, they totally caved and voted for it. And I'm like, where are your principles at, guys? Like the things you said, they said they weren't going to vote for it because of X, Y, and X, Y, and Z never got changed. And then they just went ahead and voted for it because they didn't want to feel Trump's wrath.
The Republican Party has no principles.
A couple of them do, very few of them.
Very few.
Yeah,
How many?
very few.
Six in the House and Senate
It
total?
appears 5 to 6. That'd be
Five
my
to
guess.
six in the
Yeah,
House and
five to
Senate
six. Yeah.
have actual morals, moral values,
Principles.
principles.
Yeah. The number is not
None of them have moral values.
the number is not real high on the Democrat side. It's higher, but not real high.
Right.
Yeah, I'm just saying. In general, our politicians don't have real values and principles.
Right. And the
They,
mainstream media.
I mean, some people, yes. Individually, some people do. Media organizations, no. But individually, some people, yes. That's what I would say.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I'm
that's where we're
I'm
at.
terrified. I'm
Rep-
I'm very disappointed. I'm very disappointed in humanity at this point.
Yeah, it's very disappointing. I mean, we're
I mean, what do other countries there? I mean, every country basically looks at us, right? And they look at us as like guidance. And they look at us and they
uh,
go, okay, what's going on in their political system? Like we could take some notes and
I
some
think those
guidance.
days are over. Reagan back in the day used the term "shining city on a hill," and I think
Uh-huh.
there was a period where we were. I don't think other countries are looking at us for guidance on how to do things for the last while. Like I think we're a
Yeah.
joke to a lot of the world. I'm just
So we're
saying.
just a joke now. I
I,
mean, that's
and
kind of
I,
where I was going with that,
I
but
don't think
yeah.
I don't think, and I want to be clear on this. Like I don't think it's just Trump. Like I'm sure that other countries, there's certain countries that laugh and think Trump is a clown. But like even without Trump, we're kind of a joke to the world. Just the way that we bicker about stupid shit, and I'm sure that we are. So even take Trump out of the factor.
It's mostly the right.
I wouldn't. I mean, the left gets in stupid like all the stuff with the left and their gender pronouns and the this and that.
But hold on.
A
Gender
lot of the
pronouns.
world.
Who on the left is fighting for gender pronouns?
There are nobody elected, or very few. I don't want to say nobody, but if there are elected ones, one or two. But the left online, the online left.
No, you know who speaks the most about it?
Oh,
The
I
right.
mean, the Republicans exploit every chance they get.
Republicans.
They find one clip of a Democrat saying it, and then they play it forever. Yeah.
Well, and yeah, and they bring it up forever, and they think they are pushing the narrative that the left are crazy, right? Purple-haired. I
Well,
mean, even Jesse Waters calls like purple-haired liberals or whatever.
that
That's one of his things.
that's
And it's
what
like, okay, there's some of that out there, but not as much as you say it. You say it more than there
Yeah.
are people out there.
Tucker Carlson used to be the best at that when he was on Fox because it was always the last block of his show. He'd be like, "All right, now we're going to bring on a Democrat to try to explain this," and he would bring on the dumbest Democrat from California, and it would just not even a politician, just a guy from the streets, and then he would interview that person and make them look stupid, and then basically the message was like, "See how dumb the Democrats are." It's like, well, that guy's an idiot. Like we could play that game and we could go get any Republican or Libertarian or. You name the group of people and I can find the dumbest one. I mean, that's easy.
Well, what I like to watch are the some of the YouTube guys who go out to like the MAGA rallies, to the Trump rallies and stuff,
What are
and
those two
interview
guys?
people.
The tall guy and the chubby guy. What are their names?
The Bulwarks? No.
What are their names? Dang it. Okay, you know who I'm talking about though, right?
Yeah, I know who you're
They're
talking about.
hysterical. They're the ones that are always man on the street, and that's a great example. Is they can make it appear like everybody at a Trump rally is a moron. It's not the case.
I think it might be the case though.
You've watched their videos too much. They pick the dumb ones, and they do exactly what I'm accusing Tucker of, and they do it from the left. So
Who else is going to the Trump rallies?
I mean, I'll bet we
No
know
smart Republicans that I know are going to Trump rallies.
You know what? I was just about to say, I'll bet we know people that have gone to a Trump rally, but I can't think of any.
And now that I'm saying that out loud, like I don't know any smart Republicans anymore.
Oh, come on. We know some smart Republicans. Like Booksmart.
Okay.
Yeah, we successful, have good jobs. And we know them.
Sure.
Yeah. I wouldn't call them dumb. I would say that they're in an information bubble. That's how I would describe it.
What is intelligence at this point?
I don't know. It's tough, and like we'll talk about it in a minute with like what's going on with Iran. But like it's so hard to know. Like most of what I see, I have to then go find a secondhand way to verify it because I don't trust almost anything I see, whether it's from Twitter or Facebook or the news. Like if I see something, I immediately have to like stop. Let's see if I can make sure this is true or not. Because I don't trust most of what I see, and I don't think most people are as skeptical as me. Like I think most people, if it comes from their channel, if you're an Alex Jones fan. Anything Alex Jones says, you believe. If you're a Steve Bannon fan, anything Steve Bannon says, like, I think that there's a problem where we just automatically trust certain things, and that's a problem.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm a Kyle Kalinske fan, but like sometimes
I know Kyle's wrong about a lot.
I know he gets hyperbolic, and so like sometimes I'm like, is that real? And I have to like look at, or I'll go into Fox and I'll see what their side of the story is, and then I'll be like, okay,
Kyle's being a little dramatic here. Yeah, that's okay. That's a great example there. So it's all over the place, but like I don't trust anything. Even listening to people talk about the big beautiful bill, because like I've seen Democrats say like all the terrible things, but then I have found a couple things where it's like, hey, this Democrat said that the big beautiful bill does this, it doesn't, and I'll look and it's like, oh, it truly doesn't. Like he was just fear mongering a bit there. Now there are plenty of I get mad at that because like there's so many real things to point at in the big beautiful bill. Why are we? It's kind of a Trump thing where it's like you already have enough ammo. Why are you now inventing fake shit? Like all you had to say was the real stuff, and that was enough. But you felt like you had to take it a step further, and that happens with all kinds of stuff. Real quick to end on the big beautiful bill. Real quick, we watched a Republican talk about it. He wasn't in favor of it. Let's watch a Democrat real quick. This is Mark Warner, a senator, on one of the morning shows.
Why vote against it when there are popular provisions within it? And doesn't that just allow the president to say, oh, you want to raise taxes?
You can put as much lipstick on this pig as you want. This will be a political albatross for the Republicans.
Why?
Because it takes 16 million Americans off of health care coverage with cuts to Medicaid and cuts to the Obamacare marketplace. That will move us as a nation back to the same percentage of uninsured we had before Obamacare. And it's not like these people are not going to get sick. They're going to show up at the emergency room. Rural hospitals are going to shut down. That has been evidenced across the nation. It also goes after food assistance. Are we really in such a place that we're cutting, in my state, a couple 100,000 people off of school lunches, school breakfasts? They even cut food banks. It's cruel. They have also ended up, at the end of the day, cutting 20,000 plus clean energy jobs. Mm-hmm. And for what? This was to make sure that the highest, most wealthy Americans can get an extra tax break. And as you just saw on your Chiron there, it adds $4.5 trillion to the debt. I think many of my Republican friends know they're walking the plank on this, and we'll see if those who've expressed quiet consternation will actually have the courage of their convictions.
Well, some of the Republicans.
I just don't get it. Like, let's just take Mitch McConnell, for example.
Okay.
This turd he's been preaching cutting Medicaid for forever, right? Medicare and Medicaid, just getting rid of it completely for forever.
And
but he knows.
I think
like,
Social Security also.
Social Security too, yes.
Yeah.
But he knows how devastating that's going to be for millions and millions and millions of human beings, right?
Especially in his state. Like his state's a prime example of like where you have a lot of MAGA voters.
I don't even know what state he's in.
It's Kentucky, right?
Oh, yeah.
Kentucky,
right. Yeah. Okay.
So, yeah. And there's a lot of MAGA voters that are on Medicare and Medicaid in Kentucky that this could affect. A lot of MAGA voters on food assistance.
Well, I'm not even, and I'm not talking about his voting people. I'm just talking about people in general.
Yeah.
Like, aren't these people supposed to be, we elect them to vote in the interest of us, right?
Yep.
So then why the fuck is Mitch McConnell so gung-ho about getting rid of our health care?
Because he wants to give tax breaks to the rich, and if they got to find a way to pay for it. Their whole thing is we're not going to drive up the deficit. So if we're going to give tax breaks to the rich, we have to find somewhere to cut spending. The easiest place to do it is Medicare and Medicaid.
Why does he want to give tax cuts to the rich? The dude's going to die in like 6 months.
Because they're his donors.
But he doesn't have any donors anymore. He's not running anymore.
Yeah. You can tell.
Why does he want to cut healthcare for people? Why does he want to kill people, destroy people's lives, and ruin America, basically?
Well, and one of the things Mark Warner just said, raise healthcare prices or costs for all of us, because all those people that you're cutting off Medicare, Medicaid, and all that are going to end up going into ERs. And when those people go into ERs, I don't get 100% how this works, but they basically either they don't pay the bills or they get charged a lesser amount because they don't have insurance. And the hospital finds a way to get that money back by hitting the people that do have insurance. And that raises overall healthcare costs because you have people that are uninsured going to the hospital. That's why Bernie's argument about why single payer universal healthcare would actually lower healthcare costs. It seems like that checks out. The first couple times I heard him say that, I didn't really buy it, but it seems like the math checks out on that.
Yeah.
Overall savings, like
totally,
be a good idea.
Well, still asking the same question. Why does Mitch McConnell want to do this?
Before we even say why, do you know, real quick, they're saying first of all, they're saying if we don't pass the big beautiful bill, the tax cuts will expire and taxes will go back to where they were before the 2017 tax cut. Real quick, for the rich, do you know where they are now? Where they're at now, and they're trying to keep them at?
Wasn't like a 3 or 4% tax cut?
So it's 30 right now. It's 37% is their tax rate, and if they fail to do anything and it goes back up to the pre-Trump tax cuts, it would be 39.2. So like 2.2%. It's not a lot. And if you could just let theirs go back up to 39.2 and then not have to cut all these people off Medicare, Medicaid, but no, they're not.
Think about this. If you raised it 4%. If you raised it to 4.4%, right?
Yeah.
Raise it up to 40, what is that? 43 or 45%?
Right now it's 37. So if you went from 37 plus 4, it'd be 41%.
Okay, yeah. So let's double what it was before, or let's raise it.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You could put double the amount of people on Medicaid.
Well, you could, or you could pay off some of the debt, which I would rather do. I'd rather we got to right now. You've seen what percentage of our spending every year goes to the interest on our debt. Like we have to do something about that.
Yeah, it's
ridiculous.
Yeah,
that's any extra money we have right now needs to go to the debt. I'm a big fan of that. So speaking of extra,
I don't get that. I just don't get it. So Mitch McConnell is just doing this for his rich friends who have been giving him money for years.
It's that simple. It really is. It comes down to money, and it's that simple. The rich want
is
their
there
money.
like a gun pointed at his head? Like, hey, if you don't do this, I'm going to kill your family.
He's long believed this. He has long believed.
He doesn't. I don't believe that he believes that this is good for America.
No, he believes that the rich should pay less taxes. You know that he is stupid rich, and his wife Elaine Chao, her family comes from money. Like they are wealthy. So
it's partially he wants tax cuts for himself.
Yes, it all comes down to money.
Yeah. Did you see that there's like a what was it? What's it called when you get inheritance? What's that called? The
You're
wealth,
talking about the estate tax?
the estate tax.
Mm.
Yeah, that thing is getting cut like anything over $30 million. It's nothing.
Yeah, there's a cap on it. You only get taxed up to a certain amount, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, so if you inherit a couple billion, you're fine.
I mean, so the
Yeah.
Republicans they're actually voting, they're actually pushing through legislation that is not in the interest of the American people.
And it's
That is
terribly unpopular.
against,
According to all the polling, it's very unpopular. America doesn't like this. This is going to. Elon has been tweeting saying this is suicide for Republicans. They're going to get wiped out in the midterms, and Trump's going to be under investigation his whole last 2 years. Trump seems to think no. As soon as we do the bill, they're going to love it. And one of the reasons he thinks that is they have this stuff staggered to where a lot of it doesn't take effect until after the midterms. It's genius. You shouldn't be allowed to do that. But like a lot of
yeah.
the biggest cuts take place in 2026 after the midterms. He's done that strategically. So,
Wow. But
yeah,
this is still going to give them fuel for a midterm. The Democrats fuel for the midterms.
you would think, but I mean, the Democrats need to come up with some ideas. And it seems like the communist in New York, Mondavi or whatever, he's the only one that's trying to come up with new ideas. And even the left is fighting against him right now. Like he's taking it from all sides.
I don't
So,
get it.
yeah.
What is he looking for? What is he like? What are his ideas here?
Uh,
Because
City-run grocery stores is the one that everybody's talking about. He went on CNN and talked to Aaron Burnett, and he was talking about city-run grocery stores, and I mean, everybody's turning that to be Soviet style, like government-controlled grocery stores. And I thought he explained very well why that what he's saying is not that. He explained what he's trying to do, but even
yeah,
after it, everybody was like, "So Soviet style grocery stores is what he's saying," and it's like, no, he specifically said why no, but anyhow,
it's the government cheese thing. I
yeah.
mean, we're
Did
we're gonna have to have that if we keep going in the direction we're going with these bills.
Well, so you remember how I was telling you Eric Adams is a former Democrat, independent now, and he could be like the spoiler here for Zorhan or whatever Zoran, whatever his name is.
Hmm.
That's I think Trump and Republicans are hoping that Eric Adams is the spoiler and cuts the Democrat vote in half. Now we have Andrew Cuomo who lost the primary but came out yesterday and said, "Well, I'm not going to close down my operation yet. We'll see how things go. I might stay in the race." So now you might have two Democrats, an independent, and a Republican. That's going to make it real. In now, people on the right on Fox News are saying that Eric Adams and the Republicans should team up on one ticket, which is very like Trump and RFK style. Like they like that
Mm.
combination. So that's what they're trying to say. It's going to be if Cuomo stays in the race and screws the Democrats here and we get a Republican mayor, like I think
He's gonna be
Cuomo,
hated.
yeah, I don't see how he comes back from that. So I
He's
don't.
gonna
I
be
think
hated.
maybe he's just talking at this point. I don't know that he's really going to do it.
Ah, wow.
Yeah.
I mean, I wrote down some stuff. What I want in a politician.
Okay.
I want them to
Is
tell me the truth.
can you do it in the form of a poem or a haiku?
I could, but yeah, I
Okay.
don't have that. I don't have that
So
ready.
go
I
ahead.
don't have the. We're doing like beat poetry.
Slam
Tell me
poetry.
the truth.
Exactly.
Against corruption and not taking money from foreign government or corporations.
Yeah.
Not
Good luck
trading
with the
stock while in
corporations.
office. What's that?
They say no stocks while in office.
No stocks while in office.
Okay.
Um, not against corruption and not taking money from foreign government or corporations.
Okay. Foreign
Looking out
corporations
for
or any corporations?
any
Okay.
corporations.
Good luck with that, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is what Bernie Sanders is pushing for, right? He's pushing for
Yeah.
to get rid of what was that act? The Hatch Act?
Well, the Hatch Act is not the one you're talking about. Citizens United basically is kind of
Citizens
the yeah.
United. That's the one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Get rid of that. I mean, yeah. Looking out for the constituents' best interest, against war, taxing the rich, helping the poor, and bonuses if they're for better education and bettering healthcare.
Yeah, I went to a Fourth of July or what was it called a Freedom Festival here in Oklahoma, and the mayor of the town we were in came up and he was like, "It's an honor to be in the greatest city in the greatest state in the union." And like when he said that, I was just like 49th in healthcare, 48th in education, like 48th in women's healthcare, like like we're not even close, but okay,
Dude, I'm going insane.
yeah,
I've got this like pinched nerve in my neck. I'm pretty sure it's because of this shit.
you stress,
Yeah.
yeah,
I'm like sitting over my desk, like hunched over all day long. Ah,
okay. this might not make you feel any better, but I do have tariff updates. This might make you feel better. It'll take away some of your stress. Okay.
He has two tariffs.
He's still got
Two
one.
deals.
Still got one, but the deadline's coming up, and he went on with Maria Bartiromo again recently, and she was kind enough to ask him like, "Hey, the deadline's coming." At the beginning of the clip, it cuts it off, but she says like, "Hey, the July 9th deadline is coming up. Like, what are you going to extend the deadline? Like, what are we going to do here?" So here's Trump's answer to Maria Bartiromo on Fox.
Is coming up. What are you going to do about the end of the pause in the tariffs?
It's so simple. We're sending letters out. I'd rather do it now. My guys, hey, I have great guys, Scott, Howard, other people, Jameson. They're talking to all these countries. We made a deal pretty much with India. We made a deal with China. We made a deal with UK, great people. We made deals. But I'd rather just send them a letter, a very fair letter saying, congratulations, we're going to allow you to trade in the United States of America. You're going to pay a 25% tariff or 20% or 40 or 50%. I would rather do that. So when I get,
We're not going to extend the pause.
I don't think I'll need to because I could. There's no big deal.
So first of all, he said there we made a deal with India, we made a deal with China. There are no deals. Like I don't know what he's talking about. They have not really. If they've made a deal with either of those countries, they should tell us because we have no information on that.
What are our tariffs on India right now?
I do not know off the top of my head. I'm not even positive. You can Google it.
Is it just the 10% that everybody else got?
Probably. I think China is the only one above 10% right now. So, but
That's what I thought.
he also said the other day, Canada hit us back. We've been hitting Canada with all kinds of stuff, trying to get them to give us a better deal. And they hit us with like a digital sales tax or something for like online services. The European Union had done this to us. So they basically took a page out of their book and did it. And Trump got mad and said that negotiations are over. We're not negotiating with them anymore. And good luck. Like he's just going to name a tax rate. So we've called off negotiations with Canada. They're done. China, I don't know what's happening with. Yeah, and he said like a week ago, he said that he would extend the July 9th deadline, and then to Maria Bartiromo there, he was saying like, no, we're not. We're just going to write them all a letter. So 90 deals in 90 days. We've got one, and now we're just going to write them letters and tell them what their tax rate is. Which, and for the record, again, he keeps acting like we're going to tell them how much they have to pay in tariffs. No, American citizens are going to pay about 80% of the tariffs. Is what that's of the tariffs that have already gone on. About 80% of it has been passed on to the consumer. 20% of it's been taken up by either the foreign country or the distributor. So that's what we're looking like. So, anyhow, trade deals are doing great. Yeah.
You know what's interesting is I totally didn't even know that like that Canada was still like conjoined with the UK.
Okay.
Like it's like, and now they're like really forcing that bond. They're like,
yeah,
that bond is like strengthening now. Like they kind of separated from themselves, right? Like you never really heard about them talking about the king and all that stuff before, but now they're really strengthening that bond with the UK. And I think it's just because I think Canada was like, hey man, we need some help over here. Like,
yeah,
United States might invade us.
And I don't think we're ever going to invade, but we're definitely going to try to put the screws to them to like make a deal that's worse for them. That's what he's trying to do here. So, also, real quick, I cut that clip cut off there, but I want to play for you the next thing he said. He said it'd be real easy to do, and then he followed it up with a little TikTok update, and I just thought this was hysterical because this is classic Trump. But check this out real quick from the same interview.
There's no big deal. It's like TikTok. I'm extending that, but no big deal. We have a buyer for TikTok, by the way. I think I'll need probably China approval. And I think President Xi will probably do it.
Who's the buyer?
I'll tell you in about 2 weeks.
A big technology company there.
Very, very wealthy people. It's a group of very wealthy people. But
oh, another 2 weeks, huh?
When Trump says 2 weeks, that means we're never going to find out. It's definitely not going to be 2 weeks. Set a reminder right now. There's no way that in 2 weeks we're going to find out who the new buyer is. If he does have a buyer lined up, it's going to be like a rich billionaire right wing. Like he's going to try to make TikTok like Twitter is, where it's they're controlling the flow of information. So it's going to be.
Wasn't like Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos kind of fighting over it a little bit?
Well, and he was trying to put together like an ownership group of like several of those Trump donors. So that's what he wants. He gets to pick who the buyer is going to be, and you better believe it's going to be people that are going to control the message for him. So
how many billionaires are in his administration?
I don't know. I know there's like 30 former Fox employees, but I don't know how many billionaires.
I heard a number like 13 or 14 billionaires in his administration. I mean, you got Pam Bondi, you got
So Bondi. So here's I remember
House.
it was a large number of millionaires, but it was only like 3 or 4 billionaires, I think. But it was a lot of millionaires, I think, because like Besant's probably a billionaire,
Sense of billionaire.
but like Elon's not in the administration if you're counting him.
The total net worth of the billionaires in the Trump administration as of June 4th equals at least 450 billion.
Are they including Elon there? I wonder though, because Elon's like half of that.
No, I don't think so. I don't think he's in the administration.
He's not technically, but
And that was as of June.
yeah.
The net worth of Trump's cabinet alone, which excludes Musk and others, is at least $13.8 billion.
So see, you took Musk out, and now it's only 13.8. A second ago, you said how much?
Yeah, it was a lot,
Yeah.
450.
So that most of that was
About
Elon.
counting. But he's not in the administration.
But they were in that large number. They were counting Elon. I guarantee you.
Oh, you got Linda McMahon.
And she's not a billionaire. I don't. If the
Yeah.
McMahons are billionaires, I'd be shocked.
I'm pretty sure they're billionaires.
Oh, that's scary.
You got Doug Burgum.
That's the North Dakota guy.
Yep. Scott Bassett.
Lutnick probably is a millionaire. Oh, I can't think. Yeah.
Tillman has 10.9 billion.
Who's
Nobody
Tillman?
knows
Who's
yeah,
Tillman?
Tillman.
Who's Tillman?
Tillman Furtada.
Frittata.
He's
Sounds-
in the
sounds-
administration.
Sounds pretty made up to me.
So we got Tillman Furtada. We've got Charles Kushner. Who knows how? It's a question mark. It says it
Well,
doesn't know.
so Charles Kushner is an ambassador to a country, right? Didn't we name him like the ambassador to somewhere?
Yeah,
He's not in the
But-
administration, anyhow.
I guess he's part of the administration. I mean, he's an advisor, right?
He's an ambassador, I think. I don't think he's an advisor. He's an ambassador.
Steven Feinberg, Warren Steffens, Linda McMahon, whatever. 3.2 billion.
Okay.
Howard
Hold on.
Lutnick,
Did you say million or billion for her?
Linda McMahon.
Is it
I keep
McMahon?
looking at it. It's not spelled like McMahon. Linda McMahon's 3.2.
Okay.
Howard Lutnick's 3.1. Stephen Witkoff, 2
Damn.
billion.
I just looked. Yeah, Vince McMahon's net worth is 3.2 billion. Okay, that's awesome. I didn't think he was that rich.
Kelly Loeffler.
Loeffler. She used to be a senator. Was that of Texas? Or no, Georgia. I think Georgia. Yeah,
I remember the name actually. Yeah.
Georgia. I
Doug
think she was.
Burgum, 1.1 billion, and Scott Bassett, nobody knows.
Yeah, but since the one that lives in the Barbie house in like South Beach, I don't know how much he's got, but it's a lot.
So including Musk, well, let's not do Musk. We got Trump. Apparently he's worth 5.1 billion. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That's not including Musk.
So yeah, you're right. With Scott Bassett, all the articles are like it's difficult to pinpoint his exact net worth. So yeah, that's kind of shady. Estimated between 700 million and 1.3 billion. Okay, well,
Who's Warren Stevens? Or Steffens?
I have no clue.
American diplomat and businessman who was serving as the U.S. ambassador to the United Arab Emirates, probably
United Kingdom.
United Kingdom.
Again, so the ambassadors like the Rooneys who own is it the Steelers? Like the owner of the Steelers gets named as an ambassador by almost every president. He's a billionaire. Like they don't have much to do with the administration. If they're technically, maybe you could say they're in the administration, but they're gone. Like the owner of the Jets, Johnson. He's part of the Johnson and Johnson fortune. He got named as an ambassador to like Ireland or something. Like they all do it. It's billionaires.
But he's not listed on here.
Well, he was, I think, under I think it was the last
under-
Trump administration. It might have been Biden, but yeah,
Okay.
it's just you appoint rich people to be ambassadors. That's like
They
a
give him
favor.
they give him an easy ambassadorship.
100, and that's a favor since you supported me in my campaign and donated however much money. I'm going to make you an ambassador. The only this exception to that rule is remember Don Jr.'s girlfriend, Kimberly Guilfoyle? When-
Uh-huh.
So when he broke up with her, because he all of a sudden there were images of him like downtown with this other woman, and then
Oh yeah.
all of a sudden Trump named her ambassador to Greece, and she was gone. Like we never heard from her again. She's in Greece, she's the ambassador, and Don Jr.'s got a new girlfriend. So like that's the breakup consolation. Like it was pretty interesting.
While we're on the topic of corruption,
Okay,
have you seen all these court cases that the previous like it wasn't the previous administration. It was organizations within the previous administration that were they were going after all these banks.
okay, and
Um,
Trump's dropping them all now.
Trump's dropping all of
Yeah,
them, and there was a today or yesterday there was a hearing, and there was a guy who was like, and so Wells Fargo, their case, how's that going? And she's like, it was dropped. And he was like, and they donated how much?
yep.
$1 million to the Trump campaign. And well, and Chase Bank there, and he just kept going and going, and it was like, holy moly. So all these banks, and this is money that they should owe American citizens, right? Like for like fraud and abuse and stuff like
And
that. And the
it's all
American
in.
citizens should be getting a check from the banks.
I think a lot of these cases started with the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, the
Mhm.
CFPB, and then it got referred to the Justice Department and whatnot. And where they're trying to get rid of any watchdog that's looking for the consumers. Like that's been very clear ever since Trump won. So yeah, that's they're not on our side. I tried to explain that at one point when somebody was like, "Yeah, Elon and Trump," and I'm like, they're trying to do what's right for us, and it's like, hey, like you're not on their team. Like there's very clearly defined teams here, and it's by income brackets. And like
Yeah.
if you think that the billionaires are trying to do things that are good for you, and you're in my tax bracket, like, buddy, I'm sorry. Like, I don't know how you've fallen into this trap of believing this.
How does this work for the billionaires? Like they just want like the citizenship to die off so that they can like who's going to make their iPhones? Are they just going to have slaves?
Well, the
I mean, I
billionaires
guess they are. I guess we're already slaves to them, right?
the billionaires still want their iPhones to be made overseas. Like that's why a lot of them aren't down with all these tariff things. But overall, they want to be able to screw over the consumers as much as possible. Like that's what they want. They want to be able to maximize their profits and screw over the people buying their stuff. And the CFPB was putting a stop to that or making a dent in it. I don't know how much they were really putting a stop to it. They were making a dent in it, and they don't like that. And like Mark Andreessen and Peter Thiel and all them, like they had cases where they were being sued over stuff. The CFPB figured out that they were doing predatory payday loans and this and that, and they don't like
Hmm.
that. They if people are dumb enough to fall for their thing, they should be able to rip those people off. That's their thought.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it always comes down to the money. Like I hate to say it, but like all the other like, do they just want to kill people? No, they just want to make more money. Like they want to keep more of their money or they want to make more money. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hmm. Did you see what they passed? What they were doing whenever they were striking Iran?
I got a couple things on Iran, but what are you talking about with Iran?
Like, I mean, I don't think that they're doing this on purpose. I think they're doing it on purpose, but I don't think they're strategically doing things on purpose.
Okay.
I think that the Steve Bannon, what is it, just flood the zone. I think the
Yeah.
Steve Bannon flood the zone tactic is the thing that they're doing, but they're not doing everything on purpose. But one thing that they did do when they were bombing Iran
Okay.
was they passed what's called the Genius Act,
Okay.
and it is Guiding and Establishing National Innovation for U.S. Stablecoins Act. It's a bill passed by the U.S. Senate that aims to create a federal regulatory framework for stablecoins, addresses the issuance and exchange of these digital assets, which are designed to maintain a stable value relative to another asset like the U.S. dollar. The bill seeks to provide regulatory clarity, protect consumers, and maintain the U.S. dollar's dominance in the digital economy.
So it's some kind of a Bitcoin that's going to be, like how right now gold backs the dollar. We're going to have some kind of coin that the gold is actually also backing, or what? I'm confused. I don't know enough
Yeah,
about Bitcoin.
something like that. Something
Yeah.
that benefits Trump and his people tremendously. People
Yeah.
who have a lot of Bitcoin and a lot of cryptocurrencies, which he has his own cryptocurrency now.
And
So
he's having the U.S. government buy up crypto, and he can kind of pick and choose which ones they buy up. So if they
I
buy
think
up
that's just part
ones,
of that.
And like the first one that we bought like $100 million of or whatever was one that one of his big donors owns a lot of. I can't remember who it was. It was somebody we know. And like through the US government purchasing $100 million of that, it drove the value of those up. So his big donor suddenly went from having X amount to like 3 times that just based
Yeah.
off. So he can just pick and choose which ones we're buying, and sooner or later he'll buy the Trump one and
Yeah.
he'll benefit.
I mean, it's basically give Trump $1 million, you're going to get like $1 billion in subsidies.
Unless you're Elon. And Elon's the one person that he's kind of screwing over here because Elon gave the most, and all Elon wants, and Elon's complaining about so many different aspects of the bill, but I believe deep down in my heart that what he's really mad about is that the green tax credits and the EV subsidies and all that went away. Like
Sure.
he really wanted those to stay, and I think that he's mad from a financial standpoint, and I think he also just believes that the future is green energy, so these solar fields and the wind fields and all that. Like he believes those are key, and he hates what's happening. Like we're undoing all the green energy stuff, and he's very upset about that.
Which is going to screw us over. Apparently, our energy costs are going to raise by like 40% or something
So they say
because of
that
this.
the state of Texas is going to get hit really hard. But I was reading some about that. I'm not prepared to really go into detail. But the way their energy is, the rest of the continental United States is on like 2 different grids, and like electricity can move across state lines very easily. Texas
East and
is
the West Coast.
Yeah, Texas is its own thing. They don't want to be tied into either. They want to do their own thing. They don't want to be regulated. And because of that, they sell it to the residents of Texas. Like, yeah, like we're not part of the national grid. We're not part of their deal. So like we can have better energy costs. But in reality, people in Texas pay more for energy than any other state. Like they're getting ripped off. It's just that's a
And they
good,
lie to them. That's the thing. This is the thing
Yeah.
about Republicans is they will lie straight to your face. Oh, we're giving you better energy costs by not being on the grid. In reality, you're paying more for energy. And they do this with across the board with everything.
Yeah.
They're straight up fuck you over and lie to your face, telling you that they are in for your best interest. This is all for you. Every
Again,
time.
it's more of a politician thing than a Republican thing because Democrats are capable of it as well. So
Yeah, but you see it on the right a ton, especially
they're
this
just
right now.
the right's just more brazen about it. Like they kind of do it right out in the open, and it works. And that's what's funny is that they're getting cocky
Dude,
with it because they can
Did
do
you
it.
see that Republican that had an abortion?
Oh, which one? I mean, several of them have been caught doing it, having their mistresses get abortions.
Oh no, so this is a woman and she had an
Oh,
atopic pregnancy,
this is the
had
lady
an
in Florida.
abortion, and completely blamed the Democrats for making it hard for her to get her medical care.
Because she said it was Democratic fear mongering that had these doctors convinced that if they gave her the abortion she needed to save her life or whatever, that they would possibly be in danger of going to jail for it. And she was saying that the Democrats fear mongered and scared all these doctors, so now these doctors won't even perform life saving medical care. That's her line.
So then are we going to perform life-saving medical care now?
So the problem is that all the bills these states are passing leave things really vague. It doesn't spell out that, hey, in the case of an ectopic pregnancy, you're allowed to do this, this, and this. Like they left it really vague, and these doctors, and this is something that bothers me. It's like I don't think these doctors are getting their information from left-wing Twitter. If they're at a medical facility, there are lawyers that every time different laws get passed, these lawyers review it and then they issue guidance to their medical staff of here's what you can do and here's what you can't. So her whole thing about the left scared them into the lawyers probably said, hey, just to make sure we don't get caught in a courtroom spending a lot of money to defend you, probably shouldn't do this because this bill is very vague on whether or not we can do it to begin with. So let's just not do it. They're in a cover your ass mode. It's like maybe we could win this case, but overall, let's just stay out of the courtroom because that's going to cost us millions. That's what they're looking at.
Well, one of the problems is a lot of these are emergencies, right? This is an emergency. Something needs to happen right now. The doctor needs to act fast, right?
The couple
But
cases
in this situation with this vagueness, they need to go to their lawyers and be like, hey, this is our situation. What can we do? And then the lawyer has to think about it and decide. And then by that time, maybe the woman's dead. Who knows?
Well, in a lot of these cases that have, there's been a couple women have died. I think just a handful. I hate to say just a handful, but a lot of it has been close calls. And in all of those scenarios, what's happened is they show up and the doctor or the nurse or whatever will say, hey, we can help you, but not yet. Your life isn't in danger yet. So go back out to your car and wait until you start to turn septic or whatever, and then come back in and we can do it. But if we do it now, we could end up in a courtroom. And they don't say that, but that's what the point is like to make sure that we have a really solid legal case, we need you to be damn near dying before we step in and do this. Because if we do it now and you're perfectly healthy, we could lose the case. That's what it all comes down to. They don't want to get sued.
So it's going to take like women suing the doctors or the hospitals to actually make a little bit of a change in this and to get more clarity on what
I
the
don't
doctors
know.
can and can't do.
I don't know how you can make the states have more clarity. Like they should want to do that, but I don't know how you make them do it.
By suing them.
Suing the state for not having a clear bill. I don't know that there's
you sue the doctor's offices, and then the doctor's offices go to their politicians. Like if the doctors, well,
the doctors don't have
yeah,
a lot of pull with the politicians.
I guess not.
They don't. So they're not a big
Yeah.
lobby.
Just another way we're fucked, huh?
The side of like the doctors, I'm gonna say the doctors that do have some pull is big pharma, and they're all for like let them get really sick and then depend on us for the rest of their life. Like they're not really trying to
Right.
help people.
Right.
So
Because if you go into sepsis, then you're gonna need medical care for a long time, if not the
you'll
rest
be in
of your
ICU
life.
for a while. Yeah, it's gonna be a big insurance bill there.
Yeah.
So yeah.
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 Hence, yeah.
All right. Let's talk a little Iran because you mentioned it earlier. But real quick, the Iran thing, we're still in a ceasefire. It has not been violated. It's been a little almost a week. It's been like 6 days. Okay. No issues. Trump right away was kind of saying he didn't say it flat out at first, but he was alluding to like Iran backed down. He didn't say surrendered, but Iran backed down to us. Iran's supreme leader is on Twitter, which I think is hysterical, but he's been going on. He's trying to tell his people that America surrendered to Iran, okay, which didn't happen. But then Trump started saying no, like they surrendered to us. Can you believe he's trying to say that we surrendered to them? And so both sides are saying the other side surrendered.
They're both a bunch of assholes.
Well, but here's the thing: is we just kind of all stopped. Like America, Israel, and Iran just stopped, and nobody gave anything up. Like Trump's whole thing, Trump said unconditional surrender is what he wanted. He tweeted that several times. But he tweeted unconditional surrender. He kept saying that they cannot have a nuclear enrichment program. We ended up ending all this, and they didn't agree to not have a nuclear enrichment program. They didn't like nobody gave up anything. So like nobody can really claim victory. Trump has been claiming since the ceasefire that Iran really wants to get back to the negotiating table with him. He said this in the Oval Office the other day, and it's one of my favorite interactions with Trump recently. We're going to watch this real quick, but then I'm going to tell you why. I don't know which side I believe, but check this out. This is Trump in the Oval Office on C-SPAN.
When it comes to nuclear weapons, Mr. President, are you concerned that the Iranians may have some enriched uranium at Pickaxe Mountain?
The last thing they're thinking about right now is enriched uranium. They're not thinking about what they want to do is they want to get back to life, and they do want to meet me, and we'll do that quickly. We're going to do it quickly while we're meeting.
They said this morning that they don't want to meet with the U.S. Were they telling you something different in private?
They may say that to you. Don't you think they want to meet me? Don't you think we have sanctions on there that they can't do anything? Wouldn't you think that they want to meet me? I mean, they're not stupid people, but they went through a lot. And they suffered, and so did Israel. Israel suffered greatly. It was a nasty 12 days, and yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and now Trump's just basically.
I like how that reporter
Dirty,
just to his face. That reporter was like, "Iran is saying they don't want to meet you," and he kind of did the "Who are you going to believe, me or them?" You know, and he was like, "Hey, doesn't it make sense that they would want to meet me? I mean, doesn't that make sense?" And here's what's sad is I don't know. He has a slight point because, like, of course they're saying to the public that they don't want to meet, but it's very possible that they might be saying that, but then behind the scenes saying, "Hey, let's meet and get this." I don't know who I believe. What's sad is Trump and the Ayatollah or whatever his name is, they both have about the same credibility with me. Like I don't trust
right.
I shouldn't be there, but that's kind of where I'm at. But again, if you're Israel, you got a ceasefire, everything stopped. You didn't commit to not doing anything nuclear. They voted the other day that they're not going to submit to the IAEA inspections anymore. So then they're talking a lot about how they're going to start enriching more uranium.
Do you think that we hit their nukes, their nuclear? Do you think we destroyed their whatever we were bombing?
I don't know because the other day one of the generals came out and did a briefing and said, you know, the big bunker busters that we supposedly use that go down like Apparently, I gotta look into this, but apparently we didn't even use those. We just dropped straight up 30,000 pound bombs. They were not bunker busters, the big ones. And
Oh,
I don't, so I'm very curious. And one of the sites, not Fordo, the big one that we were trying to hit, but another one of their sites that's kind of buried into the side of a hill. They've already gained access to it by satellites. We can see that they've already cleared all the rubble and got back to the entrances, and they're in there doing a damage assessment right now of what we hit and what we didn't. So I mean, there's no telling. To cut way back, we talked about this last time, but when he came right out and said that we obliterated it, like, what's he talking
yeah.
about? How do we know that? Maybe we did, but like this is about the time that we'd be finding out. And what needed to happen was they need to get access. They start unburying everything from the rubble, and then we start intercepting communications from them, whether it be emails or phone calls or whatever, where they're talking about the damage, signals intelligence, and that's where
Yeah.
we really get the best look at how much did we really destroy it. We didn't wait for any of that. We just said we obliterated it. Now Trump's trying to say, "Yep, we definitely obliterated it." I don't
Well,
know.
if we hit anything nuclear, they would be pulling rubble out. There would be nobody there. Like we would know, right? It would be
So
a hazard zone. It would be a nuclear fallout hazard zone area,
that
right?
one of the things they were looking at after the strikes was if there was any radiation leakage, and there was none.
Hmm.
Also, it seems like all their enriched uranium they got out of there. They were driving it out in trucks, and how Trump at first was saying no, they didn't remove it. Well, now the people, the senators in Congress got briefed, and this is weird. They got briefed by Rubio and Hegseth, I think. But Tulsi Gabbard, didn't go to the briefing, which she's the director of national intelligence. She should have been the one giving the briefing, and she was
Uh-huh.
not. She was not invited to the briefing in Congress, which is still weird. Um,
Okay.
but people coming out of that basically were saying because they were asking them about the 800 pounds of enriched uranium that's missing, and they were saying, well, that wasn't part of the target set. Like that's not what we were aiming for. That's not what the mission was trying to get. So don't worry about that. And that's pretty much admitting that it is gone. Like that's we don't know where that is. That got taken out in advance, and who knows where it's at.
So, I mean, then, okay. So, Israel was striking Iran. Iran was striking Israel. Nobody really was getting injured. There wasn't a ton of
There,
deaths
there,
or injuries.
there were civilian casualties, but they were like less than 100. It was not.
Less than 100 over
Yeah,
both of them, and they shot a ton of missiles, right?
yeah.
And
And
then
they were both running out of missiles. Is the key
and then
thing.
Iran fired at shot our base, but there was no injuries because we got everybody out.
We shot at Iran. We bombed Iran first, then they shot at our base.
Right. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So I missed that. Okay, yeah. So there was kind of like a three-way like missile exchange with very few casualties.
Yes. And now it's over.
What's the point?
And we didn't get any concessions out of anybody. Nobody on any side gave any concessions. We just all three sides slobbed some missiles at each other, and then we just agreed to stop with nobody agreeing to do anything.
How many missiles were shot, and who's going to replace those missiles?
So American wise, who knows? We're gonna pay to replace the Israeli missiles.
Well,
Like,
right, yeah, we're
yeah,
replacing it. Yeah,
yeah.
those were our missiles. Is what we shot some of for
Oh, dude,
Israel,
I
right?
didn't even tell you this. Remember last time I was telling you BB was supposed to go on trial starting Monday, and Trump was upset about it.
Oh yeah,
Trump
yeah.
Trump said that he is not going to give any more money to Israel to help their defense and restock their missiles and all that if the trial goes on as scheduled, and they pulled it. He's not.
No.
Yeah, they pulled it. He's not going on trial. They basically said they're going to delay it till he's out of office. So Trump threatened to withhold money if they didn't stop that, and they said, "Okay, got it." And they pulled the trial. So
Oh
BB is not going on trial. Yeah,
no.
that
There
just
was like a
happened.
little shining light of hope there that he would go to jail or something.
I think that just happened Saturday. They announced it. So yeah.
Oh, what a
Trump used the might of the U.S. dollar and the U.S. backing to save BB.
But I thought it was all so who I thought it was all Netanyahu that wanted this war.
Well, this war is keeping him in power. So
Yeah. But who's backing out of throwing him in jail or trying him at least for who's
I guess the
because of the
prosecutors, I
money?
don't know. I mean, really, if we say
Those-
we're not going to restock their interceptors, the missiles for the Golden Dome, like that's the biggest threat to them. So the whole country probably was like, "Fucking drop the charges!" Like they were all about it. Like we need those
Oh,
missiles.
and then being low on it gives them a good cover to kind of get Netanyahu out of this.
Yeah, just because they
While
need
also
our
putting a lot of money back into Halliburton and
yeah.
and Lockheed Martin. Like,
because we're gonna
seems
make them
like
here.
there's
Yeah. So
seems like there's a little conspiracy there.
oh yeah, no, it's that's like the most out in the open, like just
It's
corruption.
all, it's all
Yeah.
pretty out in the open. Yeah, there's no conspiracy. It's all out in
Yeah,
the
it's just
open. Come on.
corruption. That's why it's right out in the open corruption. So anyhow, so that's what's going on with Iran. It's supposed maybe we're going to meet with them in the next week or two. They're claiming they have no desire to meet with us. I don't know if I buy that. But even if we can meet with them, their red line is still we have to be able to enrich uranium, and Trump is saying they cannot enrich uranium. So we're still right where we were. So I don't know.
Yeah,
I got
yeah.
I got one more video tonight on a completely unrelated topic. We talked about a couple weeks ago, I think it was just like a week ago, about the alligator Alcatraz in the Florida Everglades. I can't talk right
Uh-huh.
now. Remember when we saw that video? What was that? 10 days ago at the most, and it was just like a raw piece of land with an airstrip, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Check this out. This has only been like 10 days. Florida is moving on this. Check this out from Fox.
No problem. But all the stuff that goes into intake and processing of illegals, you're seeing this put up. This is all 24 hours. 24 hours from now, you're going to see even more. And by Tuesday, this will be able to have intake of illegals.
Where are they going to store them, first of all? And second of all, when is hurricane season?
Hurricane season's coming up real soon.
That's fucking tent. Those are all tents.
So that whole segment was like 5 minutes long. That's Peter Ducey, I think, or no, it's the dad, whatever the dad Ducey is. But anyhow, and they went through and they showed how the tents have they have sidewalls that are about to be put up. They have these big air conditioner units. They're gonna have showers. Like they gave a whole tour of it. They did this so fast. So they're using the state's like emergency response system, like for when there's a hurricane or whatever. They're using
so
that. Yeah,
They're depleting their hurricane response.
to build this, and Trump and DeSantis are going to be getting along real good here because DeSantis is like, "Sir, I got you covered," and like,
Yeah.
remember they got an airstrip there, so they can fly them straight out of there to whatever country they want to without anybody noticing. So
Is there a way
is
for us to
fast.
like rent a bunch of fan boats and just go break a bunch of people out of these tents?
I don't know. I don't know if I've told you how afraid I am of snakes and alligators, but you're not going to get me anywhere near the Everglades. Like, I'm good. I'm not going over there, buddy. So yeah.
Man,
So
I mean this immigration, now that we're not on the parks thing, I think immigration is going to be my next big issue
yeah,
to kind of fight for.
get the bad
It's
hombres out of here. I think most Democrats would agree. Like, if they're breaking the law, if they're criminals, get them out of here. Nobody cares. But like going after the ones that are working and they have no criminal record and they're helping our economy. Like, what are we doing? Why are we going after them? It makes no sense.
have you seen some of the videos of how they're arresting people?
Dude, I've seen them like tackling people at construction sites, and there was. I don't know
Yeah.
if you saw this one. There's no video of it, but it was a MAGA voter, like this old white guy, that he was paying these Mexicans to mow his yard and whatnot. And I guess like ICE showed up and they left the lawnmower running and just ran, and ICE tackled them in the street. Threw the guy. I guess they took their keys and cell phone and threw them into the window of their truck, and then threw them in an unmarked vehicle and just left. And this guy was watching from his window his two lawn workers get taken by unmarked cars. And when he went out there, like the lawnmower was still running. Like they just took him in the middle of the day and just, all right.
What did he say?
He was shocked. He did not like it, and he said he voted for Trump. He was actually interviewed on Fox, and he said, "I
Oh,
voted for Trump, but what the hell is this?" He was like, "I just watched two guys get kidnapped. The cars were not marked as being any kind of law enforcement. The
yep.
people had masks on. Like he's like, I just saw a kidnapping." So
Yeah. Yeah, this is terrifying because this opens up a whole new world because half of them don't even have anything to say ICE on them.
oh, that's
They're
what.
using
Yeah,
unmarked cars, they're carrying rifles. Like this fucking terrifying. And they're grabbing like women and children. They just deported a kid that was another kid. I think this is the second kid that had cancer.
okay,
They deported him. Apparently he went to and they're deporting these people as they're coming out of their confirmation hearings for not confirmation hearings, but their
court
hearings
hearings.
for
Yeah,
citizenship, right? So
they are.
they're
Yeah,
being told to go to these hearings to get citizenship. They're going through the right channels, and ICE is standing outside
yeah.
ready to arrest him. A 6-year-old kid or
Did,
whatever he was, 6 or 8. He pissed himself, and they didn't change his pants for like 3 days or something. It was
Did you see?
ridiculous.
Did you see Christy Noem went in front of it was the House or the Senate last week to testify, and they asked her about the agents being masked and not having identification, and she goes, "Oh, really? This is the first I'm hearing about this. Do you have like a specific example?" And it's like, "What? That's all they've been doing. Like people in your department have answered questions about them doing it and said that this is what you've told them to do." Like, but she played dumb. Like she was like, "Yeah, if you have examples of that, please forward it to my office." What are you doing, lady? Like, anyhow, it was very
No,
very
yeah,
upsetting.
they're being bitches. Dude, yeah, no, it is terrifying. It's scary. There's been like I don't remember how many, but it was a lot of American citizens have been deported already. Um,
So there's from my knowledge, there's been like it's under 10 American citizens, and a lot of those have been like where the dad was an illegal, but they deported the kids who had birthright citizenship along with the dad. And what the Trump administration does is they turn and they go, "What? Did you want us to separate a family? We're not going to separate a family. Like we're going to deport them all together." That's their line.
did you see that one guy from he was just coming to visit from I think the Netherlands or something, and he had a meme of JD Vance, bald JD Vance on his phone, and he got
They so they said
kicked
that
out and like banned for life.
they said that it was on his phone. People have been saying it was most likely on his social media because America has announced to the world that if you want to come into America, you have to make all of your social media not private so that we can look at it when you're coming in. And if you try to come into America from another country and your like Facebook or Instagram is private, you can't get in. And they were saying it was probably a post that he had done on Facebook or Instagram of that picture. That's pretty weird that we're looking at people's social media, but whatever.
Dude,
The
that's
the
crazy. Yeah.
the picture was funny. It
Um,
was the one of JD Vance as like a kid with the big fat cheeks and all that. That was the picture. Yeah.
bald, the bald
Yep.
one. Yeah. So ICE arrested 674 individuals who were potential U.S. citizens, detained 121 of them, and deported 70. Boom.
70. What's that from? Source that for me.
Hold on. Hold on. I'm looking at dates. Government accountability found between. Hold on. That's not up to date. That was during Obama.
See?
No, it was like 21 through no 15 through 20.
Okay,
Um,
so the end of Obama and all of Trump.
yeah.
Yeah. See, you got to be careful with what you read
So
online, man.
wow.
Yeah.
As well, yeah. As of May, immigration judges have issued over 309 removal and voluntary departure orders. Wow. For
Yeah.
the month of May alone, 46,615 removal orders. Wow. Oh, so you can voluntarily
I
deport
think
yourself.
they're offering them cash right now. Like if you voluntarily deport, they'll give you $1,000 and a flight back to your country.
Dude, can I take that?
I don't think
Take them
so
up on that?
because they're not going to let you back in. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're stuck out at that
Are they
point. But
gonna pay
yeah,
me to relocate?
no, they are. I think it was like $1,000 and a flight back to your country if you voluntarily deport. Which is actually it's a good deal for America because it costs us more to like track them down, capture them, put them in a prison, and take care of them until they have their hearings. Like it's cheaper for us to just give them $1,000 on a plane ticket.
Right. Right.
So yeah.
Um,
I look forward to you getting on to immigration now, but I don't think the whole selling our land is done. Something tells me Mike Lee's still going to try to do that, but just in different ways. He
oh, there's
really,
different ways. They're working on different ways to do it right now.
I was going to say, he
We'll
really wants
figure
to
it.
sell it. He's big on that.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he does. And it's not gonna like he says it's gonna lower housing costs. Do you think it's really gonna lower housing costs? No.
Yeah, not at
Nothing's gonna
all.
lower housing costs. I mean, the developers and the
Put a spotlight
architects
on.
and the construction companies and the people who sell, that's scary, dude. I hate that.
Sorry. I'm gonna
Anyway,
when you come to visit, I'm gonna put that in the guest room over the bed.
I'm burning. Uh, I had an idea though.
Okay.
If you're if you're dealing with ICE and they start to arrest you, fake a seizure. Remember we had a buddy who used to fake a seizure in the middle of
Yeah.
Whataburger in the middle of the night?
Something
Just
tells me
fake a seizure.
they'd
Then they
still
have to
take
call
him.
the ambulance, and it's a whole ordeal. It takes up all their day, and they won't be able to deport other people. So, like, if everybody starts faking seizures while they're being deported, like consistently, then there's like, I don't know, we're just kind of wasting ICE's time,
Yeah.
which is good. We're wasting more of their time, which needs to happen. So if we get every single person that deals with ICE over the next, 4 years or whatever to just fake seizures, like not only when they're arresting you, because
Mhm.
then they have to I think they have to call the ambulance. They can't just throw you if you're like seizuring on the ground. So just fake seizures all
I
the
don't know.
time.
I think they would just still handcuff you because there was a lady I saw this video where a lady leaving her immigration hearing or whatever in a courthouse and she fainted. I saw the video. I think she fake fainted, but she just went dead weight and pretended to have fainted. And like
Uh-huh.
her lawyer was like, "She's fainted. You have to call an ambulance." And they were like, "No, we don't." And they like handcuffed her and then like picked her up and got her into an elevator. And the whole time she was either really fainted or fake fainting, but like. And her lawyer was like, "Hey, no, this is bullshit. You have to call an ambulance. She's on the ground." And they were like, "No, we don't." And they got her into the elevator, and that was the last they've seen of her. She's in a camp somewhere. So
Whoa.
I
I
think if you
mean, these
fake,
guys, how can you be an ICE agent right now? Like, this is insanely horrific shit. Like, you have to be an awful human being to be an ICE agent.
yeah. What's funny is when I see a lot of the tapes, is a lot of them appear to be Hispanic too, like Hispanic Americans that are
Yeah,
arresting Hispanics. I'm like, I don't get that. Somebody please explain that to me. But yeah, they seem to be all for it.
this is terrifying.
Yeah,
Um, did you see, right before we got on, I was watching this news station, and apparently it's an ongoing thing right now where there are at least one gunman who, um, firefighters reported to a fire, a wildland fire, and at least one gunman shot two firefighters, shot
shot.
and killed two people,
Shot
and
nine
wounded.
firefighters and like two cops. I don't
Oh
know how many
shit!
even killed, but he shot nine firefighters and two cops. He's dead. They think self-inflicted gunshot wound. I've had it on while we've been talking. They
Wow.
found a body with a gun. They think self-inflicted. So he basically took as many cops as he could, and then at some point turned the gun on himself. It looks like
Why is he shooting firefighters?
he was just it was an ambush. Like he set a grass fire or some kind of fire, and then sat
Yeah,
back with a rifle and waited on the fire department to show up. People are sick.
that's crazy.
Yeah, people are sick and twisted. It was in Moscow, Iowa, or right outside of Moscow, Idaho. Excuse me. Yeah.
You think
People
he's
are
a right or lefter?
that could go either way, man. Especially
All
in
right.
Idaho. In Idaho, it could go either way because I wouldn't be shocked if it's left. And then up there, you have like the Ted Bundys. What's that his name? The guy that basically anti-government. Is
Oh
that his
yeah,
name?
yeah.
Ted Bundy. I think that was his name. Anyhow,
Ted
but yeah,
Bundy was a
like
serial killer.
who's the I'm not gonna be able to find it, I'll bet. But yeah, there was a guy that basically was anti-government.
The Unabomber?
No, that guy
That was
too.
Oklahoma, right?
No, the Unabomber was not Oklahoma. The government, the federal building in Oklahoma, got bombed by Terry Nichols and Tim McVeigh.
Hmm. Hmm.
The Bundy standoff. I was right. Hold on.
Oh, Bundy. Okay.
Clive and Bundy. There was somebody else. That's one of the sons, I think. Anyhow, yeah, there's the family name was Bundy, and they had a big standoff with the feds. It was kind of like a little mini Waco type thing. Um, Anyhow, that like I said, that could be someone who's anti-government, right wing, or it could be left wing. I'll wait and see. I hate trying to do the predict. Like there are times when you can tell right away. You're like, oh, this is definitely a right winger, or this is definitely a left. This one could be
20,
anything.
$20 says Fox News is already calling it left winger,
Yeah, a thug.
and 20 bucks says it's actually a right winger. I'm going right wing.
So you're
Left
doubling
wingers
up.
don't generally kill firefighters. Right wingers, crazy right wingers do.
Or this, but again, and the whole thing where we try to put them into a box, like you should be prepared for the fact that he probably won't fit into either one of those boxes.
He
He'll
voted for
have
Trump in the last election.
that one's possible. Oh, dude, real quick, can we talk Maha real quick? So, and
Yeah.
thoughts and prayers to all the people in Idaho, but Maha real quick.
Yes.
Um, the Maha has been slowly getting pissed about like, what are we doing here? Like, where are all the Maha things we wanted? And it seems like it kind of hit a breaking point this week. Did you see what RFK was saying? He was in front of Congress, and his plan to get everybody healthy by the end of the administration is to have everybody in America wearing what he called wearables. And he thinks this will increase everybody's health. And so they went into it further. The wearables are like Fitbits or Garmin watches or whatever, but he specifically said because he could have said tracking your steps or making sure you're getting enough activity, but he specifically said glucose monitoring. That was like these wearables that detect your glucose levels, and it turns out that the girl that he wants to be his Surgeon General, Callie Means, her and her brother Casey Means, or the Means brother and sister that were so big in Maha.
Okay.
Her business is that for like $200 a month, you wear this thing and they track your glucose levels and like tell you how to alter your diet based off of it. But so for that alone, like most of the Maha people, like I don't want to wear a thing where the government's going to track my glucose or my steps or my activity or my GPS location or whatever.
Yeah.
But also, like one of my close family members who is very Maha. Her whole thing is like she will not wear a smartwatch, and she's mad that I'm wearing one because of like the Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, like all that stuff. Like she thinks that's
Uh,
bad for you. So like overall, a big segment of Maha is against these smartwatches and stuff. They do not like it. And RFK came out and said he wants everybody in America to be wearing a wearable by the end of his term. And for whatever reason, that was kind of the breaking point where there is true like fracturing of Maha going on right now. Like they're not sure what RFK is doing. I find great humor in this, and I've been paying attention to this.
well, he's not doing anything for him. He's basically
He
screwing the American people over as well. Like he's not doing.
he's trying to throw them a bone by doing all the vaccine reviews because he got rid of the committee that approves vaccines and brought in new people, and now he's having them go back and review all these vaccines. So that's kind of the bone he's trying to throw to them. Other than that, he's not doing a whole lot.
To them, but the rest of the American people are going to be fucked.
Yeah.
Everybody's going to be fucked. I mean, measles outbreaks, like, what is it? Like 10, if it's 10% of the population doesn't have
That
measles, then measles could take control and like ravage our country. It's a herd immunity is the disease, right?
Yeah, herd immunity is the thing, and yeah, it's like 87% have to have immunity, or else you don't have herd immunity, something like that.
Yeah.
I know the government stopped tracking measles cases.
Oh, they did? Oh, great.
They said they were gonna.
What the like seriously, they're gonna so then it could just like randomly pop up in your town and you're not even gonna know about it? What are we
Yeah,
doing, Andy? What in the fuck are we doing?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Like they were stopping tracking all like they if you don't track it, the numbers can't be bad. It's kind of the theory. So they're stopping tracking a lot of stuff.
Dude,
Yeah,
this is insane.
it's weird. Yeah, I don't have anything funny to say about it. It's weird. I mean, it's the direction we're heading. You got 3 more years of this. Get ready.
Dude, and yeah, we're only 6 months in, and this
Yeah,
is what we're dealing with. All of this, all of this.
it's
How many
not.
topics did we go through right now?
Oh, we only went through like 3 or 4 tonight. Tonight was the easy night. Calm down, buddy.
All
Don't
bad topics. All
don't be
bad.
don't be Kyle. Don't be Kyle Klinsky. Calm down. You'll be fine. So yeah, well, we got to look forward to this week, and let's just take it one thing at a time. Big beautiful bill. I predict it's going to get passed. I don't think the House is going to save us. I think the Senate, when the Senate passed their bill, they kept saying, "Well, we know this isn't the final text of the bill. Like the House is going to change some things." But like what's probably going to happen is the House is just going to ram it through this way, and what the Senate did is going to be the final text. And the
Uh,
Senate hasn't passed it yet. We need one more brave soul in the Senate, and it could be Lisa Murkowski since her little Alaska deal got canned. But
oh,
other than that, like we got Rand Paul and Tom Tillis, and that's it.
okay. All right. Rand Paul, Tom Tillis. Let's go, Lisa Murkowski.
She's
She's a
the
Democrat?
no, she's a Republican.
She's a Republican.
Yeah,
Okay.
we need 3 Republicans to vote against it.
But she's gone against Trump a few times.
She's said a lot of things against Trump. When it comes to actually voting, she kind of always falls in line, but she talks like she's not going to put up with this anymore, and then she does. Yeah.
Interesting.
So, and same with Ron Johnson and Josh Hawley, who both said they weren't going to vote for this, and then they did. So, yeah,
Couple bitches.
yep, that's
Bunch
what
of
we got.
bitches in the Senate.
Yeah, anyhow, let's.
You know what? I was looking at running for something,
Okay.
and I was like, well, what would be easy to run for? Like city council. You can go run for city council. City council, you get $6,000 a year to be city council member.
Mm-hmm.
$6,000 a year.
Yeah.
Minimum, you're working 25 hours a week.
Where would you see that at?
I've been doing a little research.
Okay, I didn't
I
think
looked
they
up
worked that much. I was shocked. I'd be shocked if they worked that much.
mayor is about the same.
Okay.
Um, but during budget season or whatever, you're working upwards of 60 hours a week.
Really? So I wouldn't have think city councilmen would work that much, but I don't know. I've never been one.
That's what my research came up with. And yeah, so you're only making $6,000. So really you basically have to be rich to run for or
Yeah.
retired. Yeah.
And you got to be able to take them bribes. That's why they're so open to taking bribes.
Is that what it is? Like we
Yeah.
just don't pay them enough, so they have to take bribes to live? So
Well,
then they're like beholden to their
So I'm not at all defending our corrupt representatives at all. Okay. I think can you Google it real quick? What does the average U.S. Congressman make?
It's
It's
like
like
150 or 250,000 a year
yeah,
or something.
150, 200, something like that. I'd like to know what it is just for fun. What is it?
You want Senate or House?
Congress, House.
House. Let's see. Average Speaker of the House makes 223,
Probably the highest
and
paid.
majority minority leaders 193. Typically they make 174.
So here's the deal. $174,000 sounds like a lot of money, right? Sounds like a lot, okay? But then you look at it, let's say that you're the representative from Colorado, okay? You have a house in Colorado that your family's in. You also have to have some kind of a residency in DC. And apparently like the housing right around DC like is expensive as shit. Like so
Sure.
And I've heard AOC talk about that. Like you can't afford an apartment in DC like off a congressman. So you have to have a primary residence in your district. You have to have a secondary residence in DC, and then you're flying back and forth all the time. Like 174 doesn't go that far when you have to do all that. So it's not shocking that they're so susceptible to lobbyists lining their pockets. Now, I'm not saying they need a pay raise necessarily. I'm just saying like we can't act shocked. Like, oh wow, they're taking money from donors and lobbyists and trips and fancy dinners and all. Yeah, they're kind of broke, and 174 grand sounds like a lot,
They're
but
not
like I
broke.
said,
That's not broke, dude.
if they're not taking money from elsewhere, they're struggling to make ends meet.
No.
Okay. Like I said, all that flying back and forth, having dual residencies.
Dual residencies, okay. And flying back and forth is what? Well, let's calculate it out. 174,000 a year. And then and let's just divide it by two, right? You're living two lives. So you're making 87,000 a year living two lives.
And in one of your lives, a lot of times you have a house, a wife, and kids. So 87 grand for a year.
Yeah. You're not living luxuriously, but you're not living poor.
If me and my wife and daughter had to suddenly operate on 87 grand a year, we'd be hurting.
You can do it though. I mean, that's $7,000 a month.
You can do it, but I'm just telling you that that's why they're so susceptible to taking these lavish gifts and trips and dinners and all that.
Well, I think they should be broke as fuck. I think they should live like the poorest of the poor.
It's
like
very.
What's the?
It's like college athletes that like if you're a college football player, you're not allowed to have a job, but you're also like you're just supposed to have money from back home from your parents. Like I don't know how are you supposed to pay for everything, and then we wonder why they're taking bribes. Like of course they're taking bribes.
That's not true. I mean, yeah, but now they're paying.
Well, now colleges are paying, but up until the last 2 or 3 years, like so, yeah, no shit. Those college kids are taking bribes.
It's above the annual average salary.
But
so annual average salary is 63, so it's $20,000 over the annual average salary.
And again, let's just factor in how many times a year they fly back and forth. Probably 40 times a year they're flying back and forth.
Do you think they spend $20,000 on flights?
I mean, I do the math. Let's say $400 round trip. That's a good estimate. $400, 40 times a year.
40 times a year, you think?
Oh, a lot of them fly home every weekend.
Oh.
I think 40 might be a little low. They fly out of DC on Friday like a motherfucker. They're out.
Oh, didn't want to do that. Weird.
I'm just saying, like I said, if we wonder why they're so susceptible to bribes. That's part of the reason right there. I'm not defending him. I'm just saying it makes sense.
So yeah, that's 20. That's almost 20,000, 16,000. So yeah. So they're making the average income after flights.
Mm-hmm. And let's remember what housing costs in DC are. They're outrageous. So just
If you live
having
in New York, like AOC, that's crazy.
living in New York and DC, having residence in both places. Like
So yeah,
AOC said she was sleeping in her office in DC for like the first 6 months she was a congresswoman because she couldn't afford rent down there.
makes sense.
Yeah, I'm just saying. So that's part of our weird system. Okay, I'm definitely not saying we should pay them more. I'm just saying it makes
No, they
sense.
should build. They should have housing for the House and Senate.
Okay, the government should pay for that with our tax dollars.
Yeah, government housing.
Okay, government.
Yeah, that would make the most sense, wouldn't it? If we just bought them housing,
have two government owned apartment buildings, one for the Democrats, one for the Republicans.
Bingo.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Like dorm rooms. You just have little dorm rooms.
And if you want to, if you're a billionaire who's a senator and you want to live in your own place, you can do that. But if you want a free spot, you got a free spot.
Let's look that up.
How many senators are millionaires? How many senators are millionaires?
Okay. Two-thirds of the 100 members of the U.S. Senate are millionaires.
Now I'm going to do, hold on. How many?
66 senators. That's insane. These people, and we expect them to like be in the best interest for the working class people.
And now, hear me out. More than half of the members of the U.S. House of Representatives are millionaires. So,
yeah,
are they millionaires because they're making 174,000 a year, or because they're taking good speaking deals and all that? That's where they're making all their money. They're getting their pockets lined.
Yeah, they're getting their pockets lined, or they came in with money, right?
Some did, but I think most of them
Some
gained
did.
their money in Congress.
Yeah, it makes no sense. Like,
Yeah.
they're so frustrating, man. These people, we voted these people in to vote to represent us and vote for our interests.
Vote for what's best for us.
Yeah. And from what I'm seeing, when I see from the last, I don't know, how long we've been talking about politics together? 10 years now?
Yeah, something like that.
A good 10 years we've been talking about this. From what I see is the vast majority of them don't vote the way the American people want them to vote.
Agreed.
On most things.
But
so then why do we keep voting them in office? And why don't we kick them out?
Because
why don't we go ahead.
Our voter participation is like, a third. So if all Americans voted, this stuff would change. The fact is, the only people that go vote are the rich people for the most part and the old people. People that work in kitchens or busboys or servers, they vote at a very low rate compared to retired people and rich people.
Yeah, because voting's always on like a Tuesday.
So increase voter turnout, and there's a lot of different ways to do that. Changing voting to a Saturday, maybe universal mail-in voting, whatever it is. But increased voter turnout, and a lot of this shit gets fixed. The thing is, there's one party out of the two that does not want to increase voter turnout. They want to stifle it as much as they can, and that's the Republicans. So
yeah,
that's the same party that doesn't want to get dark money out of politics. So
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mitch McConnell looks like a ghost, man.
Yeah, he's about where Biden was.
When's his term end?
26 or 28. I think he might be told because he just got reelected in 22, I think.
Okay.
When Mitch?
I hope it's 28. But he's in Kentucky, so
26 actually. He's done in 26, and he said he's going to retire. He said he's not going to rerun. So
yeah, they're just going to put another like goofball in like him.
It'll be somebody worse than him. Yeah, it's Kentucky.
Yeah. Fuck, dude.
Yep.
I mean, at some point you just got to give up on America, right?
The only thing is, where are you going to go?
I don't know.
America is still the best. Where it's not as good as it was, but it's still better than most of the other places out there.
We haven't been the best for a long time, dude. The best in what? Education?
No, it's the place that has
Healthcare.
the most opportunity. It's the best in opportunity.
The most money. We have the best money.
Opportunity to be successful.
We have the best money.
Okay. Yep. If you
Yeah.
are poor and you think if you're poor and you have aspirations to become wealthy, America is your best chance to do it.
Maybe. But
Yes.
like, what if I have aspirations to be happy? Like
Then
Canada's happier, Denmark's happier,
I was gonna say
Germany's
that
happier, Mexico's happier. I think we're like 50th in happiness. Like,
if you already had money, let's say you're set, you're good on money, and you just want to be happy, I would recommend the Scandinavian countries to you, like
yeah.
Norway and Sweden, and they all seem to be doing just fine over there.
What about quality of life? Didn't this come out last year? They
I think
did
America was really down on the list. And it was based off like healthcare and this and that, healthcare and education.
yeah, I mean, it's overall like quality of life. Like,
Yeah.
quality of life, best countries. Dun, 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 dun. Denmark, #1. Woo. And their GOP, let's see.
Denmark, you said? I'll buy that.
Sure. Okay. U.S. News wants my email. Yeah, so Denmark's #1. Hold on. Why they can't read the news without. Okay, Denmark, Sweden, Switzerland, Norway, Canada, Finland, Germany, Australia, Netherlands, New Zealand. We're not on the first page.
It's not shocking.
United Kingdom, Austria, Belgium, Japan, Ireland, France, Luxembourg, Spain, Iceland, Portugal, Italy, the United States, #22.
That's about right. I'll take
After
that.
Italy,
We're 22. We need a big foam finger that says 22.
we have the most money, but we're the 22nd in overall, what did I say, quality of life.
Yep. Don't worry, man. Zorhan Mandani is here to save the day.
I hope so.
He's gonna
I kind
fix
of like the
everything.
guy.
He's gonna bring communism to America and make us great again. I'm joking.
Communism. Don't say that. Don't say
Yeah,
that.
I'm joking. I'm
I
laughing
like
'cause
him.
everything I see, they're calling him a communist every chance they get, and even the Democrats are calling him a communist. So he's
Which is
fighting a
wild. They're
battle.
eating him. Yeah, the Democrats are eating him,
The establishment is very
Yeah.
afraid of him. So
which they were with Bernie too, right?
Yep, 100%.
This is
So
the thing.
he's got an
This
uphill
is-
race. Everybody thought that him winning the Democratic primary meant that he was automatically going to be the mayor. He's going to have forces from all over, left and right, coming after him now. So this is going to be interesting
Why don't the Democrats like him?
because he is threatening to their way of life. Because the Democrats play ball, the establishment Democrats, they play ball. Yep. And he's threatening to turn that upside down. It's just like when the Tea Party came in. The establishment Republicans tried to fight it, and they eventually lost. We'll see who wins this one.
Okay, so we all need to like band together and like support what is his name? Mamani?
Zorhan Mamdani.
Mandani.
Mamdani.
Zorhan.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
You don't mess with the Zorhan. So.
Dude, I hope he wins this, and then New York, because man, Fox News. So apparently Fox News had to stop like bringing him up because they were like listing off they had to stop listing off the policies that he was imposing because
they were
Fox
too
News
popular.
viewers, because the Fox News viewers were going, well, that's not too bad.
There was a point when Biden was trying to pass his what was it? What was his big bill? It was like the Rebuild America Act, or I can't remember what it's called.
BBB, yeah.
It was something like that. And Sean Hannity was playing like a rolling scroll of all the terrible things in it, and it was the same thing where like 9 out of 10 of those look great. Like so. Anyhow,
Build Back Better.
Build Back Better. Thank you. Yeah. But yeah, that's even the Fox viewers were commenting, and they were like, "Hey, I'm down with most of that. That sounds fantastic." So they had to stop doing the scroll.
Yeah. So we need to get. I mean, this is the thing: is like the politicians and the media is kind of against the the United States people at this point. Like there should be some sort of like class war going on between the people and the wealthy, really.
I think what it is everybody's looking out for their own interests, including the media. And I wouldn't say that they're necessarily against the United States people. I'm just saying that their interests don't jive with what's best for normal Americans sometimes.
Exactly.
Yeah, but it's not like, we want to screw the Americans. No, it's just, hey, sorry, but our money is what's most important to us, and even if that means hurting Americans, we're going to get our money.
Sorry, yeah, we want healthcare to be too expensive for the poor people to get healthcare, because Big Pharma pays half of our electric bill every month.
Yep.
You're talking about that kind of thing?
Yeah. And
Okay.
Israel.
That's
And
against the
Israel.
American people. That is voting, that is influence against what's best for the American people.
The biggest thing I see media wise that's cracking me up right now is like how much in the whole, the Jews run the media type thing, but like most news stations are trying to spin this in a hey, we still got to go destroy Iran. Like for Israel, we still like they're trying to not let
Wild.
this die. And it's just like, oh wow, like yeah, you guys I'm thinking it's just Israeli money backing news stations. I don't know how to say it any nicer than that, but like they are beating the drums of war still.
I think it's either that or it's the war machine, like
The
Halliburton,
industrial military complex, one or
yeah,
the other.
industrial military complex and Israel
Yeah,
teaming up, putting that
that's right.
like
I can't find a cable news show right now that is not pro like let's go to war. It's kind of weird.
it's really strange,
Yeah.
man. What are we doing?
And then you go on YouTube though, and all the independent media are like trying to say, no, don't do this war. And
Yeah.
it's kind of a real eye-opening thing where it's like, okay, wait, one entity wants to go to war and another one doesn't. What's the difference here? Oh, money, like financial backing. That's the main thing. So
Uh-huh. Well, and it's also interesting that the YouTube channels have way more viewers than the news stations these days.
not all of them, but some, yes.
Right, right. But overall, I mean, if you take all the news stations, put them together, and all the YouTube channels, I bet you there's way more people listening to.
Well, but a lot of like, there's people like me that watch the news and watch YouTube, so they're double counted.
Yeah, you're double
Yeah,
counted on that one for
yeah.
sure.
So, yeah.
But yeah, anyway.
All right, I say we get out of here and get prepared to come back once the big beautiful bill gets to the House because, like I said, that's going to be interesting. As there's going to be a couple holdouts, and Trump's going to put the pressure on it. I think they're going to cave, so that's the thing to look for in the next couple days.
We got to fight the good fight, guys. Everybody call
Can you
call
call?
your U.S. senator,
Can
call
you?
your congressman.
Will you make some calls for me tomorrow? I don't have a lot of
No,
time.
you got to make calls, man.
Okay,
Make your calls.
I'm going to call my
I don't
Oklahoma
know if calling
representatives.
your Oklahoma dickheads is going to help, but
That if people are calling, they need to focus on the ones that might actually flip, and that's like Hawley, Johnson, Murkowski, and Collins. Like those are the ones
yes,
to focus
yes.
on.
Actually, yeah, there's a list. I put it on our Instagram page. There's a
Okay,
list of the senators you should call
okay, I like it.
and the
Yeah,
phone number. Go to our Instagram, follow us on there,
everybody,
call.
everybody call unless you're a millionaire and you want lower taxes, in which case, then don't call.
Yeah,
That's the only people that I think could be for this is if they're just looking flat out at like taxes.
this is literally the only thing that's good for anybody in this bill is for millionaires to get tax cuts, right?
Yep.
And the military industrial complex gets more money.
Yeah, spending more at the Pentagon.
Okay. Yeah.
Defense spending
Which
always
they're
goes up.
millionaires.
Yep. So, all right, man. Good to talk to you. Things are going to be fine this week. Everything's groovy. We're good. Trump's going to pass the bill, and we'll be fine.
Right.
All right.
Bye.
Talk to you later, man. Bye.
Later.
Sometimes you eat the bar, sometimes the bar eats you.